All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful economic idea. It's something that explains why certain markets, like buying a car or getting insurance, can feel like a total high-stakes gamble. It really all boils down to this hidden game of information, where one side, well, they know a whole lot more than the other.
So let's just jump right in with a question I think we can all relate to. Picture this. You're on a used car lot. You spot a car that looks perfect, but then that little nagging voice in the back of your head starts up, right? What's wrong with it? What does the seller know that I don't? Well, guess what? That fear, it's not just you being paranoid. It's actually the foundation of a massive economic problem.
Yeah, in fact, this whole scenario is so famous in the world of economics that it has its own name, the market for lemons. And this comes from a totally groundbreaking paper back in 1970 by an economist named George Akerlof. He used this one simple example to show how an entire market can just completely fall apart.
So, where does the problem start? Well, it begins with something economists call asymmetric information. And look, that sounds fancy, but it just means there's a simple imbalance. The seller, they know everything. Every little rattle, every single repair, the car's real history. They know if they're selling you a gem or a total lemon. A piece of junk. But you, the buyer, you're completely in the dark. All you see is a shiny coat of paint. So what do you do as a smart, rational buyer? Well, since you have no way of knowing if it's a great car or a lemon, you're not about to risk paying top dollar, right? Of course not. Instead, you kind of hedge your bets. You offer a price that reflects the average quality of all the used cars you think are out there. Okay, now let's flip it. Put yourself in the seller's shoes for a second. Let's say you know you have a genuinely fantastic, well-maintained car. That average price you just got offered, it feels like a complete lowball. It's honestly kind of an insult. So what do? You say, nope, no thanks, and you take your amazing car and just leave the market. And this is where the whole market starts to unravel. See, with all the good cars gone, the average quality of what's left for sale, it just plummets. Suddenly, the market is flooded with lemons. Buyers who aren't stupid, they figure this out and start offering even less money. And in the absolute worst-case scenario, the entire market just collapses. Why? Because nobody can trust anybody. And that whole story, that brilliant illustration, gives a name to the main culprit here: adverse selection. It's this really destructive process where that information gap, it actually causes the market to select for the worst possible outcomes. The bad products literally drive the good ones out of town, leaving buyers with only the dregs. Okay, so the really crucial point to get here is that this isn't just about used cars. Not at all. This exact same thing happens in insurance, in banking, even in agriculture. Let's take a look at how this builds into a really dangerous spiral in a market like health insurance, where, let's be honest, the consequences are way more serious. You can really see how the market unravels here. It starts off simply enough. An insurance company can't know your exact health, right? So it offers one plan priced for the average person. But here's the catch. Really healthy people, the ones who almost never go to the doctor, look at that price and think, that's a terrible deal for me. So they drop out. Now the insurer is left with a sicker, more expensive group of customers. So what do they have to do? They have to raise prices. And guess what that does? It drives away even more of the healthy people. It's a death spiral, plain and simple. But wait, markets don't always just give up and collapse. People are pretty clever, and they've come up with strategies to fight back against this information gap. The first one is a strategy used by the person who actually has more information, and it's called signaling. So what is signaling? Well, it's all about the informed party. The seller with the great car, or the healthy person, or the high-quality farm, taking some kind of deliberate, costly action to send a believable message. The key here is that they are actively trying to prove their hidden good quality to the other side. And here is the absolute secret sauce to making this work. A signal only works if it's credible. And where does that credibility come from? It comes from cost. Think about it. If the seller of a lemon could easily get the same good car certification as the seller of a great car, the certification would be totally meaningless, right? So the action, the signal, it has to be way easier or cheaper for the high-quality person to do. And you see these signals literally everywhere once you start looking. For instance, a farm that's already using organic practices can get that official certification way more easily than a conventional farm that's just trying to fake it. Or how about this? Offering a long, comprehensive warranty is cheap if your product is reliable, but it would totally bankrupt the company making a lemon. All of these are signals, and they're all designed to bridge that information gap. Okay, but what if you're on the other side of the deal, the one with less information? You
You can't just sit around and hope for a signal, right? You got to be proactive. You need to design a kind of test that forces the other side to reveal their true nature. And that whole process, that's called screening.
This really lays out the whole cat and mouse game perfectly. Signaling is the person with the info basically shouting, "Hey, I'll show you how good I am." And screening is the person without the info saying, "Okay, prove it. I've set up a little test here that's going to make you show me your true colors."
Let's just jump back to our insurance example for a second to see how this plays out in the real world. Because insurance companies, they are absolute masters of screening. And their number one tool, it's the menu of choices they offer you. So an insurance company can't just come out and ask you, hey, are you a healthy person or a sick person? But what they can do is offer a menu of plans, like this. Now, if you're a healthy, low-risk person, you know you probably won't be using your insurance that much. You hate the idea of paying a high monthly premium for something you don't use, so you'll gladly pick Plan A, the one with the high deductible, to save cash every month. But someone who knows they're high risk, who expects to see the doctor a lot, they're going to look at that crazy high deductible in Plan A and think, absolutely not, that would ruin me. So they'll choose Plan B instead. And here's the brilliant part. Plan A is intentionally designed to be a terrible deal for high-risk people. So just by choosing which plan they want, customers sort themselves into different groups. They reveal their hidden information without saying a single word. That, right there, is screening in action.
So, okay, we've seen the problem, adverse selection, and this clever cat-and-mouse game of solutions with signaling and screening. But what's the big picture here? Well, this constant, invisible game, it's not just some boring academic exercise. It fundamentally shapes how efficient our economy is and the choices we all face every single day. When that information gap gets too wide and adverse selection takes over, we get something economists call welfare loss. And what that really means, it's just lost opportunity. It's the great car that never gets sold. It's the healthy person who can't get affordable insurance. It's a deal that would have made both people happier, but it just vanishes, all because of a lack of trust.
And this is exactly why we have so many rules and institutions that might seem a little weird at first. They're not just red tape. They are guardrails against the market completely failing. You know, lemon laws for used cars, mandatory food labeling, professional certifications, even things like mandatory car insurance. These are all attempts to inject trust back into the system. They're all trying to shrink that information gap so the lemons don't end up taking over everything.
So if there's one crucial thing to take away from all this, it's that so many of the rules and products that shape our economy, they aren't really about the thing itself. They're about revealing hidden information. That high insurance deductible isn't just about money, it's a test. That organic food label isn't just a sticker, it's a signal. They are all tools in this huge, invisible battle to build trust in a world where not everyone has the same information.
And now that you kind of have the lens for this, you're going to start seeing this game playing out absolutely everywhere. It's in the job market, right? A college degree is a signal of your potential. It's all over dating apps, where every single photo online in your bio is a carefully chosen signal. It's definitely in finance, where credit scores are used to screen for risk. So now the question for you is, where else is this hidden game of information shaping your world? Thanks so much for joining me.